All right, back again. Another episode of Spirit of the North podcast. I am your host, Casey Blueford, joined by my co host, Mr. Derek Murray. We are here to talk all things basketball, all things entertainment, all things pop culture, whatever that looks like, kind of all leading, kind of tied into the whole basketball setting. So, Derek, what's going on, bro? How we doing today?
What up, man? I'm doing good. Just getting ready for another week of hoop, culminating with the Emirates Cup. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. The fact that we barely know what it's called kind of gauges the level of interest that you and I and probably everyone else is kind of feeling right now. So, um, but yeah, I mean, let's start with let's just start with life stuff, right? So I feel like it's the holiday season. We both got little ones. How's Christmas shopping doing? Is this your first? Wait, is this your first or second holiday in the Midwest now?
This is my second.
Okay. Same,
Yep.
yeah, same. So it's a little bit different kind of this go around. You kind of know what to expect. Still a little bit weird kind of being away from family, but how's holiday prep for you guys?
it's pretty easy now with Amazon and all that. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
Like family
That's true.
can just order something on Amazon and have it
Just
directly
ship
sent
it.
to our crib. You know what I mean? So
Bro.
it honestly isn't too bad. Like you said, obviously not being around my family is the adjustment, but at the same time, I think we have like a good plan for what we usually get for Amari or what he needs. So, as far as like gift getting goes, that part of it's easy. That's the easiest part, I think.
Hey, I saw this. I need to see if I can try to find it real quick. I saw this post the other day. I can't remember where it was. And tell me if I send it to you guys now. It says nobody's more nostalgic than a older millennial. Did I send you that one?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, let me see if I can find that real quick. But anywho, it's just kind of crazy to think about. Like, oh yeah, here we go. It's it says, hold on. It just talks about like some of the things that we had kind of growing up. So I'm just going to share some pictures real quick. So you remember these growing up, the little popcorn tins?
Oh, yeah,
They
yeah,
had the
yeah,
three
yeah.
different flavors in there. Um, hey, do you remember these Sears catalogs and J.C.
Yeah,
Penney catalogs and stuff like
absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. Me and my brother used to circle stuff in there knowing good and
Yo,
well we wasn't gonna get nothing.
yeah, and had no money, right? Hey, remember they used to have these where you could play the game in the store,
Oh
like
yeah.
at
Yep. At
Walmart or towards
Target.
the Target.
Yep.
Yep. Um, let me see. There was a couple other ones. Yo, they said Christmas trees. I mean, the Christmas trees used to look like this. A bunch of gifts, bro. We had like maybe 8 gifts on that thing, bro. We never had nothing like that. But
Yeah, that's a
anyway,
white Christmas.
yeah, yeah. I thought it was cool, man, because I feel like we talk about Amazon nowadays, and you can just kind of order and things just ship, and just like the simplicity of how everything is nowadays, and they talk about the if you're an older millennial, how things are, how you adapt to modern society, but at the same time, like you miss some of the old stuff. So I thought about that.
let me
But
let me ask you this case,
yeah,
because this is where I'm at now, right? As an adult, when you're working with a budget and you have family, that you want to do something special for, there's cause to pause when it comes to how much you
no,
can
for sure,
spend.
for
Do
sure.
you feel obligated to get like everybody in your family something,
Nope,
or do y'all like
hell
have a
no.
conversation about like, look, this is for the kids? You know what I mean?
Bro,
Like, leave
bro,
me off the list.
it started like probably 3 years ago when I was looking at my bank account and I was like counting up nieces and nephews, and I was like, look here, I'm gonna be that uncle that either everybody's gonna get gift cards or let's just stick to the kids. So now at
Yep.
this point, we just stick to the kids, and I think there's more of an understanding now. I feel like when we were like early 20s, it was like you felt like obligated to get like everybody something, but now it's like kids, and I try to get my parents something if I can. So
Yeah.
like kids and parents, let's just take care of that. Like anybody else, like I'm sorry, I love you, but like I ain't got it right now. Because what happens is like it's funny because we always holiday season is coming, and you want to save up, but like next thing you know, September get here and October get here, and you like, Shit, I guess it's gonna be the same thing it was last year, right? So
Yo,
yeah,
what's that? What's
so
that word that Gen Z spamming these days? Intentional.
and is that what they doing?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I
Yes.
say when I get you something and it's a letter and or a gift card or something. I'm just being intentional. You know what I mean? It's the thought that
Oh,
counts, basically.
yo, the Gen Z's is wild with that, bro. Intentional, like yo, let's talk some hoops. So speaking of intentional, I'm going to intentionally ask you this question.
All right.
So we've had some conversations in our chat about just the quality of basketball right now, the impact of basketball. You have football season, which is really in its prime time, right? You got the playoffs coming here in a couple weeks. You got teams fighting for playoff spots. You got college basketball kind of just starting up and kind of getting going. You got you just got a lot of stuff going on. You got the holidays. We've talked about the NBA season being shortened or different options, but my question for you is the NBA cooked right now? Like the viewership is lower, teams are missing 50, 60 threes a game, so the product that you're putting out there is not ideal what anyone really wants to watch right now. I mean, we got a basketball podcast and we talked the other day about, "Hey, I might be doing this, that, and the other instead of watching the game," right? So what are your thoughts on the NBA? Is the NBA cooked right now?
Man, you know what, Case? You know what, man? And I don't want to be prisoner of the moment because I know that this is a narrative that we're seeing floated around the internet right now. But for someone who came into the season, pretty excited, you know what I mean? Like typically I don't get up for football. I'm not a baseball fan. I don't, I may dabble in some soccer here and there, but there's got to be like a cup or something for me to get up for that. This is my time, right? This is where I
Mhm.
thrive. And I've got to say, man, I don't know what it is about this season, but it's just not moving the needle for me, man.
It's
It's not
not
moving
though.
the needle. And I feel like I want to say that it is, pre Super Bowl. We're just, it's diehard fan who is into basketball right now and who's tuning in and watching on NBA League Pass and betting on parlays. I want to say that. The case, I'm not so sure that after the Super Bowl it's gonna get any better, man. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so let me get this. Yes, I feel like you bring up a good point. I, at first, I thought it was the timing of the year. Like, okay, maybe if they started off after Christmas, like, people will be more entrenched and really diving into watching the games. But honestly, man, I feel like it's the product. I really do. I feel like it's the product, and I feel like what is different? What is different now than it was, say a few years ago, like when ratings are a little bit higher and whatnot. And honestly, I think it's just the style of basketball that we're seeing. Like we're seeing teams just it's just a 3-point contest every other night. It's and usually the winner of the game usually wins the 3-point margin. Whereas, maybe a few years ago, the amount of threes taken in the game was maybe in the 30s. We're seeing teams shooting 50 plus threes a game. We're seeing strategies inputted by coaches to where if you're not taking threes, you're coming out the game. And I feel like fans don't want to see that. They like unless you're Steph, like they'll watch Steph shoot all day, right? Players like that. But for the most part, they're not trying to go to a game and see you jack up 50 plus threes and make 25% of them.
Yo, what separates this product that we're seeing right now from the WNBA at this point? Right?
Honestly, probably just the athleticism and the
Well,
fact that
that's
go ahead.
my point. That's my point. Is what used to separate these guys from any other league was the
Mhm.
the athleticism and
Mhm.
the creativity in which it was used, right? And
Mhm.
now, we've already talked about this before, but you got Josh saying things like, I'm not going to dunk no more, right? Anthony Edwards shooting more threes than he's ever shot in his life, right?
Most athletic guy in the league, right? Like
Right, right, right. So we've almost, reduced, we've almost depowered the dunk, right? Which for us coming up, like that was everything,
Yo,
right?
everything, everything. If you
Seeing
can
these
dunk,
guys defy gravity was literally everything about what we loved in basketball. And now it's few and far between. Like you said, they're shooting a lot of threes, and whoever shoots more threes than the other team typically wins. And I don't blame the coaches for utilizing. I mean, it's smart strategy,
hmm
but like you said, it waters down the product. It makes it tougher to watch. And I'll just be honest with you, for a guy like me, who's blue collar most of my life, who works his butt off, just to barely scrape by. These guys' attitude also
yo,
make it difficult to watch. You know what I mean? Like these guys are making
yeah.
more money than they've ever made, and they can't even get up for a regular season game. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we rooting for? Are we rooting for entitled, you know, silver spoon babies, or are we rooting for this game that we love?
Think about this, and you talk about what's changed. I mean, I hate to say it, but the money's changed too. These like you have guys who are sixth and seventh man on the rotation making more than NFL stars. And I feel like the crowning of stars or the crowning of superstars is so fast nowadays. A guy has a stretch of a 7, 8 game span. Next thing you know, he's considered a star. Right? Prime example, and this is no knock. Let's talk Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton, prime example. He had a nice stretch of the season last year, right? Probably
It was half the
pre-cup,
season.
right? Yep, yeah, about half the season had a nice stretch. Not even a full season, half the season. He's on commercials. He's on the promotions for the cup, right? He's on the Olympic team now, and coming in, and then we see what's really kind of happening coming into this season. He's not looking the same,
He's not like
but
that.
he's already made so much money now to where like it doesn't even matter anymore. So like the brand, the money, like all that is factored in, and I feel like it's really just it's really watering down the product. And as a diehard hoop fan, like both of us are, like it's really unfortunate when a game's on TV, because we're going to talk about this here in a second, that I'm not really interested in seeing. So, and this is prime time games. This is not no local channel. This is prime time TNT, ESPN. Like, I'm like, okay, it's cool. I'll watch Linus. I'll watch something else. Like I'm
Yeah,
cool. I'll
no
check in on the
facts.
game in a little bit. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on that before we move over to the cup?
I mean, I completely agree, and I feel like to piggyback off that, our goats, Bron, Steph, KD. I mean, they're just about out the game, and I
Yeah, it's
feel
really
like
sad.
Adam Silver really has there really needs to be a conversation about who they after MJ. There was a little bit of a lull, right? I
For
don't
sure
know if you
was.
remember that, but like
Mm-hmm.
it was basically hunt for the MJ replacement, right?
Yep.
Luckily, we ended up transitioning into the Lakers dynasty, where Kobe kind of came into that role. And
Yep.
then, from there you had Bron overlap,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then Steph and so on and so forth. But we've been spoiled for the last 2 decades, basically,
Decades. Yeah.
with these
The
stars.
star power. Mm-hmm.
Who's coming after Bron and Steph?
Yeah.
I mean, KD.
Yeah.
Who's taking? I mean, and this is no disrespect to Jokic, but he doesn't have that personality
He's
that you would place on the face of the NBA. You
Yeah,
know,
he's not moving the needle like that. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be when Braun eventually does retire. Because think about last thing I'll say. We're going to talk about the cup. Think about what are still some of the biggest storylines of the season thus far. What's wrong with LeBron? What's wrong with the Lakers? This man is 40. He's still
right,
like the
right.
biggest storyline. Like we're not talking about SGA who's balling. We're somewhat talking about Jokic. We're still talking about Steph and the Warriors. Like we're still talking about the same narratives for the last 10 plus years. So what's going to happen when they leave? We'll see. But let's talk about the Emirates NBA Cup. So we had the semifinal, sorry, the play, yeah, semifinal games. last night. We had the Hawks go up against the Milwaukee Bucks, and you had the Oklahoma City Thunder go up against the Houston Rockets. The Milwaukee Bucks ended up beating the Atlanta Hawks, and the Oklahoma City Thunder ended up beating the Houston Rockets. So we have the finals of the Cup. I believe is it Monday night or Tuesday night in Vegas? I can't remember exactly what
I think
night it
it's
is.
Tuesday.
But let's get straight to it. What are your thoughts on the Cup thus far? Are you excited about the Cup? Did you even watch any of the Cup games? What's your take on the Emirates NBA Cup at this point?
Yeah, I peeped it, and I do have thoughts. I feel like one, the novelty of it last year carried it, right? Like we
Mhm.
wanted to see where this went, and in addition to the novelty carrying it, the fact that the Lakers, which
Yeah,
is probably the most popular, if not top two most popular sports teams in in American
in all American sports, yeah.
in American sports.
And you
I
have the
think
face of the league
right,
still.
you got LeBron James. Like I think all of those things married together to make it work
Yeah,
last season, and now we're seeing that this season it's almost not for nothing. It's almost like a built-in break for a lot of these teams, right? Like
yeah,
a lot of it's basically the who wants it more cup. you
yeah.
know what I mean? Who has more to prove cup? Because a
Hmm.
lot of these teams are basically taking this as, look, we're not gonna win this thing anyways. Let's just, ham it up
Let's
for
get
the
a week
last
off.
yeah, let's just ham it up for this last game.
Yeah.
Let's get this week off and let's get our bodies right. And it seems like a lot of these teams are doing that. Luckily, you've got two teams in the finals who I think are, championship contending teams, two
Hmm.
teams that do still have a lot to prove. So they are going for it. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, OKC is not a huge market. Milwaukee's not a huge market,
Mm-mm.
right? Like, this isn't going to move the NBA's needle.
Not at
I'm
all.
sorry. As a basketball fan, I love Shea. I love the Greek Freak. But these two teams, these are, mediocre franchises
This
at best.
this feels like a glorified summer league title, doesn't it? Feel like doesn't it feel like it though? Like if you're not, unless you're in Milwaukee, unless you're in Oklahoma City, I can almost guarantee Monday night or Tuesday night, whatever this game is, it may be on TV, but nobody's locked in like that. Like
Nah.
unless you're in these markets, and then even if you are in the markets, like okay, you get the cup title, it's cool. Like, but like I'm to me, I feel like the 100K is not moving the needle for the players.
Nah, man.
And then
Nah.
especially if you're making 25K a year, 30K a year, 15, even 10K, sorry, 10 mil, sorry, not K, sorry. If you're making 10 mil a year, 100K is not really it's not really getting you out of bed that much.
Right.
And
Right.
don't get me wrong, that is great money for someone who doesn't have it. Like
Absolutely. That
that's
would that
that
would
is
be
great
life
money.
changing
That's
money for a
life
lot of
changing, right?
people.
Like I'm practicing hard if it's just me, right? But for these guys, like that's a night out at the club, you know.
Right.
So
Right. They throwing that at the strip club
yeah,
for real.
right. So I feel like they have to get creative as far as maybe an alternative prize, maybe impacts playoff seeding, home court advantage, something like that. They got to do something different to where it impacts the game directly. Um, you know,
Maybe
versus
even, I've seen, floating around like, especially because they split it up by conference, right? Because when you really think about it, it's like, why
home
do
court
they even need
advantage.
to do that if it doesn't
Hmm.
affect anything?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, they could just
yeah.
take the best team.
Hmm.
But to your point, if they made it home court, winner gets home court for the
Like
conference.
baseball. Baseball does
Exactly.
that for their All-Star game. Yep, I'm totally aligned with that. I feel like then there's some stakes,
Right.
right? Because not okay, yeah, you want to represent your conference, but but also like you want to say like, hey, if I'm Oklahoma City and there's a good chance I can go to the finals, like I want home court advantage, right? In case I play
Right.
Boston or Cleveland or a team like that. So we shall see what happens. Who you got on Monday night or when they play?
Well,
Yeah,
real
OKC or you
quick,
got
Chase.
Milwaukee? Mhm.
Real quick, man. I had this thought too about the cup because these games are kind of in a vacuum, right? Like they don't count towards the season really.
That
What
part
if
too.
somebody got
Yes.
hurt?
Yo.
Like, what if the Greek Freak landed on somebody's foot, and he was out for the rest of the year because of that, because of this doggone in-season tournament.
That's a good point. That
You
is
know
a
what I
very, very good
mean?
point.
So
That is a
yeah,
very good point.
they're gonna have to come back and like retool this thing, I think, after
Yeah.
this season. But
Yeah.
I think, honestly, I mean, this should be a good game. I'll let me become positive for a second and talk
Hmm.
about the game. I do think that this should be a good game. I feel like in watching Milwaukee after the beginning of the season's kind of train wreck, they are starting to put some things together. I think
Yep.
that, like Giannis said, they're playing as a team more. They're playing more connected on offense. It does seem like Dame is trying on defense, which I think was huge
Hmm.
for the failures at the beginning of the season. So I do like this for Milwaukee. I think this is. I feel like they need this more than
Yeah.
OKC,
Yeah.
but man, OKC's defense, man,
They're engine. They are an engine. I don't know.
is
I mean, there's been a lot of. I don't know if you saw. I think Jason Tipp might have broke this down too, but I've seen a couple different ones. They are a string on defense as far as their rotations. I'm not sure if you saw his breakdown, but they are an engine
shout
and
out to
they are
Jason too.
balling. Yeah, shout out to Jet for show. Like, they are an engine on defense. Offensively, like they're gonna be a problem. They're gonna be tough to beat in 7 games for anybody. So
Honestly, I don't see too many teams beating them in 7 games, man. I'm
yeah,
just if
it's.
everybody's healthy, I don't, especially when Chet comes back, because right
I think
now their
that
wing defense is really what's carrying them. That's like what's extremely elite, and um, Hartenstein is good
is.
enough
Mhm.
to anchor that back line. But once Chet comes back, who is a legit rim protect, man, that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be crazy
It
to see.
if matched up with the Boston Celtics, that will be a good series
That would
because
be
it
a
is going.
great series.
It's gonna take the greatness of Jason Tatum, the greatness of Jalen Brown to really get through that series because player for player, they match up very, very well. So, so that being said, Derek, we're what shoot less than 10 days away from Christmas, which is awesome, great time of year. But with that being said, we know the NBA usually dominates Christmas, with the exception of this year. The NFL is playing on Christmas this year. The NFL has Beyonce performing on Christmas. So the NBA has got a steep road ahead. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to take some time and let's make some picks. So
Okay.
we have 5 games on Christmas, and let's go through our picks on this one. So kicking things off, first game in the morning. Um, Actually, no, maybe we'll do like a little 10-minute live Zoom on Christmas. So we'll have to get email. Maybe we can just hop on for 10 and just discuss some stuff. All right, so we got Wemby and the Spurs at New York. So we're kicking them things off at the Garden on Christmas morning. You got Spurs or Knicks?
I got Knicks.
Yeah, I got Knicks too. I feel like that's gonna be a good game, good way to kind of start the festivities of Christmas. New York
Mm-hmm.
basketball, gotta love it. Next, you have the Minnesota Timberwolves coming down here to D-Town, Dallas. So you have Minnesota at Dallas, a rematch of the Western Conference Finals where the Mavericks won 4-1. Who do you have in this game, Minnesota or Dallas?
I'm going with Dallas. I'm going with Dallas. I think Dallas is a better team than Minnesota right now.
I think so too. I think they're more collectively on more of the same page, so to speak. But to be fair, Minnesota's defense has been a little bit better. I need to do a little bit digging as far as what they've done recently, but I think Dallas is in a good spot. All right, next one. Oh Lord, this might be a blowout. We have the Philadelphia 76ers, who I don't even know who's on the roster anymore, who's eligible. Going to Boston, going to Boston. They're going to Boston and playing the Boston Celtics.
The Boston Celtics should dominate this game, right?
This should be a 20-point game easily.
They should kick their back in for sure.
I think Jared McCain's even out too. Like their
Yeah,
only
he is out.
bright spot of the season is out. All
I
right,
think he's out for.
the NBA knows what it's doing because then you got the not nightcap, but you got the evening game. You have the LA Lakers going to the Bay Area to play Steph Curry and the Warriors. So this is the biggest game for the NBA. This is what they want everybody to tune into. We got Lakers Warriors. Who you got?
Look, I know we're gonna get into this at some point today, but unless Bron's there. Unless
Where's
Bron's,
Waldo?
you
Where's
know,
LeBron?
I don't think this game is going to be as exciting as people think it's going to be. So
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and say Golden State just because I feel like the Lakers, they're not looking too good right now.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Stephen. And then we got the nightcap, which I feel like this is like the same game every year. I feel like it's been 3 Christmases in a row they played, but they always have to find the two West Coast teams. You got the Denver Nuggets at the Phoenix Suns, and they're playing in Phoenix. It's just literally, it's this game is always like on Christmas. I feel like they literally played 3 years in a row. You got Denver at Phoenix. I'm actually gonna go with the Nuggets on this one. I don't know who's playing for Phoenix. Is Katie's back though, so yeah. But I'm gonna go the Nuggets actually.
You would go the
Yeah, I
Nuggets.
got it. I gotta stick with it, bro. I gotta stick with it. I gotta
I'm
stick
gonna
with it.
go for the sake of the pod. I'm gonna go with Phoenix, and I'm gonna wager you.
Oh, what we got?
Loser has to drop 20 push-ups.
Oh, okay.
We'll send it in
On
a group
call.
chat.
On
Yeah,
call
we'll
on the
send
pod. On call on the pod. Mid conversation. Drop 20. All right, here we go.
it.
All right, bet. I'm down. I'm down. All right, that's good. So let's move over to we're gonna move over to we're gonna do some role playing. So we got a lot of potential moves in the NBA right now. A couple of moves that have been already official. So we're gonna do some role playing. I'm going to tell you who you are. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and then I might even put the hat on myself and kind of talk about who I am, and then you can fire away some questions. All right, Derek. So first one, you have the GM hat. You are Pat Riley of the Miami Heat. My question for you is, we've asked this in the off season. I think we talked about it in the beginning of the season. Now we're a little over a quarter way through the season. I think his hairstyle has changed 3 or 4 times since then. What are you doing with Jimmy Butler? What's the plans?
Man, well, I need draft compensation back, right? And I'm looking at the landscape, and honestly, I if I were Houston, I would seriously be trying to move Van Vliet. I'd be trying to move
Jabari?
Jabari,
Yeah.
and I'd be trying to move some picks. All these
Okay.
picks we got. So if I guess I'm Pat Riley in this scenario. I'm talking to Houston. I'm
Okay.
seeing what Houston wants or what Houston's willing to give me rather for Jimmy Butler, so that they could get a go-to player,
So tell
which
me
they
this,
need.
Jimmy Butler to the Rockets. Where does that put them? So regular season, we know Houston's balling right now. They're 3 in the West. By the way, Memphis is up at 2. Just a heads up. But Houston 17-9, third in the West right now, looking pretty good. With Jimmy Butler, where does that what would be a good season for them?
Man, I think with Jimmy Butler, they could remain top 5 in the West.
Can they go
Honestly,
to the West? Can they get out the West?
I wouldn't go that far, but I do
Okay.
think that they're a second round,
Okay. Conference, huh? Depending on
maybe
how it shakes, huh?
finals. I
Mhm.
mean, put it this way: they kept it competitive with OKC yesterday, pretty much until it was a battle of stars,
Tadar
right?
Spell, yep, absolutely. Yep.
And I feel like Alperen Sengun is a great big for a
He's
championship contender. He needs somebody to play off of him desperately. And Jalen
it,
Green, in my view, just he's not good enough to do that. He's no Shea Gilgeous Alexander. So I think
yeah,
they need somebody to go to in that moment. And Jimmy Butler still has enough in his tank to do that.
yeah. No, I agree. I think Houston's the move. I know he wants Houston, Dallas. If I'm Dallas, I'm not giving up core pieces for that
Nah,
right now. Or
nah.
Golden State. And if I'm Golden State, I don't think it puts me over the edge. Like I
I'm
think
not
it's
doing
it's yeah, I think
I'm
it'll
not
be
doing that.
nice. Yeah, but it doesn't put me over there. But if I'm Houston, I feel like I'm close. And I feel like Sagoon is to me he's very similar to Domas Sabonis in a sense of regular season can carry you. But when the going gets tough, so to speak, when you really need a go-to guy. It's hard to rely on a big. Outside of Jokic, it's really hard to rely on a big when you need like go-to bucket. So I mean, we see like even in Milwaukee, Giannis when it's money on the line, Dame has the ball. So you need a guard, you need a wing player, so to speak, to kind of go get you. So I'm with you on that one. All right, on the other side, I am going to be Mike Dunleavy, GM of the Golden State Warriors. So your question, well, I guess your question for me would be, actually, what would be your question for me? Let's put it like that. If I'm Mike Dunleavy of the Golden State Warriors, what would you want to ask me?
All right, you traded barely anything to get
hmm
a solid backup point guard option.
Another small player.
Right, right. And I see in the headlines that you guys are actively looking for a second scoring option to pair with Steph.
hmm
Who is it?
You know what? That's a good question. That's a really good question because if you look at the land of the league right now, it's really hard to try to find that. So I'm looking at these teams that who are lower in the standings who might already have kind of given up on the season, so to speak. So I might call the Pelicans. Maybe I'm asking about Brandon Ingram. How much are they willing to take for him? Um, I am. I'm calling the Wizards. I might even ask about Kyle Kuzma, right? Which I feel like in the right. We know Kuz is wild, but we know in when it's time to winning basketball,
He's won a chip.
he has won a chip as a starter. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the Chicago Bulls, and I'm saying, hey, Zach Levine can't play winning basketball, but maybe I put him next to Steph Curry. Maybe he can, and we'll kind of hit on that, the Bulls one here in a little bit. But those are the teams I'm kind of looking at, and because I'm not really, if I'm a potential contender, I'm not giving up anybody. So honestly, my best bet is Brandon Ingram, um, maybe even a Jeremy Grant in Portland. Maybe I don't get a full-on fledged second tier star, but I can get a nice big that can kind of balance it out. But I need a star, but also I need some height. I need some height. And so those are the teams I'm looking at. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think heck, man, somebody's gonna have to take a chance on Zach Levine at some point. I
Yeah.
think the problem with Zach Levine is because his contract is so high that it puts Golden State at risk of the second apron,
Yep.
So it's kind of hard to justify going over that second apron if you aren't guaranteeing a win, right? Like
Yeah.
the Celtics, they can justify it. They can justify
Yeah.
maxing out,
Mhm.
Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum because they know that they're a bona fide championship team. With Golden
Yeah.
State, like we already got, Steph is
Mhm.
going to get the super duper, triple extendo max, right? Anytime it's contract talks. You already gave Draymond Green 100 M's for the next, 3 seasons, 3 more seasons left on that after this one.
Yeah.
Can you justify, a Zach Levine? I think
Yeah.
he helps, but I don't know if he can. And then Brandon Ingram, can the guy even stay healthy for 50 games?
Yeah. You're kind of if you're the Warriors, you're kind of in the pickle because it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But
They
on
got
that note, yeah, they got to do something because you only got maybe another. Maybe I mean Steph's numbers are kind of leaving lower this year than they were last year. So, but again, he's carrying a heavy load, and that's hard for you ask a guy who's 36 to play like he's 26. In a
right.
sense of carrying the entire team. So, get that man some help, and we'll see. Let's talk. You know what? We're gonna skip. Well, actually, real quick. What's your thoughts, Mark? You're Mark Eversley. You're the Bulls GM. We kind of talked about Zach Levine. What are you doing with the Bulls? Right, you're kind of like in this mid tier team. You've been mid now for gosh, what 8, 9 years. You kind of hover around
Since
that
D
eight.
Rose.
Yeah, literally, you kind of hover around that 8, 9 seed. You got some decent pieces, right? You got Zach Levine still. You got Kobe White who can ball. You got Lonzo Ball, who's back now, but you're kind of just a mid team. Vucevic, yeah, okay, maybe Vucevic to the Warriors. That might be one too. But anywho, what are you thinking about? What are you doing with this team?
Man, honestly, outside of Kobe White, I think Josh Giddey, and
Yeah.
I really like that kid Buzelis, man, from the G League.
Okay.
He got drafted last season from the G League. I like him.
Okay.
Outside of like that young core, and even those guys aren't untouchable, but I would rather kind of see what that core does with a younger team. I'm getting
Hmm.
rid of everybody else, man. I'm trying to get draft compensation and expiring contracts so we can
Yeah.
rebuild that thing.
Yeah, you honestly, they need to go after somebody like a Cooper Flag or somebody. Just they need a
Hmm.
star power. Chicago's a great city, great market. Y'all need star power. All right, let's move over to. We're gonna go two more. I am Charles Lee. I am the Charlotte Hornets head coach. What do they expect me to do with this roster? I need some advice. What they want me to do? I feel like coming into the season, we were decent. We had talent, but halfway through the season now, we're 7-18. My star player has been injured already. He's probably going to get injured again. It happens at least twice a year. What do they expect me to do? Please advise.
Man, in my view, it's not on him. It's not on him. I think he came in with the right mentality. I think he came in to, motivate these young guys. And in part, I mean, I think it, when healthy, has looked decent. I mean, Lamelo, when healthy, is one of the best young stars, best brightest young stars in the league, aside from him in post game interviews. Uh, so so I personally don't blame him, and I think that they shouldn't have expected much more than what he's doing right now from what we're
Yeah,
seeing.
yeah, yeah. I can't. You can't even blame Michael no more, right? Did Mike sell the team? Like you can't
Yeah,
sell
yeah.
his.
No, Mike got out
You
of
can't
there,
even blame
man.
Mike. Got to get up out of it. He was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm over here trying to recruit
He in
Belichick now, bro.
NASCAR now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah. Hey, Mike know what he's doing though. Mike know what he's doing. All right. Last one. You are JJ Redick, head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Your star player is nowhere to be found right now. You were making millions of dollars. You had a top-notch podcast. You had a top-notch gig. Do you regret taking this Laker coach gig?
Man, you seen that Wolverine meme where he's got like the picture, he's laying in bed with a little picture and he's looking like depressed and emo. That's JJ looking at a picture of Tommy from the old man in
Oh man, the
the
three. Oh shit,
Tommy thriving
man.
right now, doing
Oh
his pod
man.
thing. And JJ, yeah, man, honestly, I thought it was questionable when he took the opportunity just because, and not because I don't think that he is a smart guy and, that he knows the game really well and that he could even really, be an effective head coach. It was because I know as a Laker fan how horrible of a situation you're walking into because one, LeBron James is on the team.
We
And
already talked
if
about that.
anybody knows LeBron James or has followed his career, it's never his fault, right? So if things aren't going well, the spotlight's going to be even brighter on you, even if it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the guys on the court. So that's one. And then two, ownership and front office historically bad, right? Historically mismanaged resources. So like even if he wanted to build a roster, I don't trust that Genie
They're gonna
and
allow him
Rob
to do
Palinka
it.
can get it done. So
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Put it that way. Put it that way.
J- 3 seasons over under.
Under.
Oof.
Well,
For
because you don't
it,
even know. I mean, and again, I guess we'll get into Bron
oh, we
more.
here. We here.
Well, you don't
we
know. Like,
we
is he
here.
gonna retire? Like, when is he retiring?
Just talk.
right? Like is so until we know the future of LeBron James, we don't know the future of the Lakers because we don't know what type of room we have to maneuver with, right? Because as long as he's playing, the expectation is going to be championship. The expectation is going to be championship. So they're going to leverage their future draft picks on win now players. That's going to always be the conversation, regardless. The team chemistry is never going to be right because you're going to be looking over your shoulder every February come trade deadline. So that's going to be an issue, right? And then on top of that, Bron's not even playing well right now. So we're doing all of this for a guy who is 40 years old, as you stated, who is clearly on the decline of his career. So are we really gonna leverage our future on the hopes that we could win now with LeBron James on our roster? You know what I mean? It's just it's so once we get that sorted out, once LeBron James and the whole circus surrounding him is gone, then we've got a whole new set of issues that we're gonna have to address. So
I'm adding to the arsenal. I'm learning,
I mean,
bro. I'm learning.
is he cooked? That's a legitimate question. Where is he? Does anyone know where LeBron James is? They asked JJ. He said he doesn't even know when he's coming back.
How you? Hey,
Yo, man.
how's your head coach not know when you're coming back though? Ain't that sick though?
That's crazy, dog. I've never seen anything like this before. And everybody's
Yeah,
trying to downplay it. Oh, he's just doing, Shams on ESPN. He's just taking care of his body. I mean, yeah, the wording surrounding why he's out is interesting, but I wouldn't take anything from it. It's like, dude, what do you mean you wouldn't take anything from it? If there was an injury issue, or if they're just resting him, wouldn't they simply say that there's an injury issue? Why would they say LeBron is stepping away from the team for an indefinite amount of time? Like, when have you ever seen a headline like that before surrounding a superstar? Like, we saw that with Andrew Wiggins last year, right? Like, is everything okay? And honestly, if I could get into my conspiracy bag real quick, Case, and I'm going to throw it to you.
No, go ahead.
Ironically, this is all happening around the same time where Jay-Z is under legal scrutiny. And Jay-Z and LeBron James were pretty tight. And both of them were both associated with one Sean P. Diddy Combs. Is there a coincidence there? Is he lowering up?
We might have to repick that one back. I never even thought about that. Bron was at the Diddy parties, though. We know that.
And I quote, "Ain't no party
no
like
party
a Diddy
like
party."
a Diddy party.
So
okay.
maybe he's preparing his war chest. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely have to dig into some more LeBron talk. For the sake of the NBA, they better hope he kind of gets it together, put it like that, because the Lakers are continuing to be trash. Like the product's going to continue to be trash. Like the ratings are just going to be low. Like when the Lakers are bad, it's like when the Knicks are bad. Like you're losing a whole region of potential interest or of fan bases, so to speak, and that's not a good look.
Right.
All right. Before we get into this under 25 list, we are going to hit on some quick takes. All right. So I'm going to say. I'm gonna set it up and you just kind of give me a quick quick take on your thoughts on it. John Morant hits a shot, starts talking to the coach of the Brooklyn. I think it was the Brooklyn Nets. Does John Morant talk too damn much?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Figures. Yeah. Same. That's the
however,
one thing that.
However.
Okay. Go ahead.
I thought the coach was out of line. Like
I'm rocking with the coach. I'm rocking with the coach because
Like, come on, bro. You're going to bring all the attention upon yourself for a moment where, Ja shouldn't have said or done anything to you, but you magnified it now because of your reaction, as opposed to just letting it rock. And then at the end of the game saying, look, man, I find that very disrespectful.
Right.
Moving forward, the league needs to do something about that. You know what I mean? Like, could have kept it professional.
Travis Hunter wins a Heisman Trophy last night. Shout out Travis Hunter. Internet's been killing his fiance, by the way. We'll talk about that a whole another time. But we're gonna talk about this. Trav said before beating her, he ain't never heard listen to Lil Wayne in his life. This man was born in Georgia and he never listened to Lil Wayne in his life. Cap or no cap?
He's a weird kid, man. He's like a gamer. Like, I feel like he's into like anime and stuff. So I don't think it's cap. I feel like I think it's legit, man. He's an interesting kid.
Yo, we're gonna have to hit on the girlfriend or the fiance or something. You've been seeing they've been
Yeah, they've
crushing
been
her.
killing her.
They've been crushing her. All right, quick take. Last night, pregame, they had Stephen A. Smith shooting shots against the TNT
With that
crew.
pushback.
With the
That pushback was crazy, bro.
he
In
had
4K.
he had the recliner, bro. Yo, but anywho, I know how you feel about the TNT crew. All I saw was a bunch of bricks last night. Was that good for the fans or no? Was that anything, something or nothing?
uh, More antics. There's
Okay,
more antics, man. That's how they survive at this point. It's just off.
that's just
Like,
all.
who can do more foolishness to
Yeah.
keep people talking on the internet? That's all it is.
Next take. Juan Soto signs with the Mets, 13 years, $765 million. Do we need to put our kids in baseball?
Man,
So our boys need to pick up a bat? Like,
bruh.
man. Like,
I'm
I'm like,
already
put the basketball down. Pick up a bat or kick a ball. Like,
I'm already feeling like basketball is mad expensive to get into if you're like a father or a parent. So yeah, man. If return on investment is $700 million, we
all
might
you need
be
is
out spring
all you
training,
need is a
baby.
couple hits. All you need is a couple hits and we good. All right. Joel Embiid is eyeing more time off. Quick take. Is he going to play more than 40 games this year? Yes or no?
Yo, Philly is cooked.
Yeah. Good thing they
Philly's
got the
cooked.
Eagles. Good thing they got the Eagles right now, bro, because that basketball team is trash.
Man, I'm embarrassed to even have like put my name on them early in the season. So yeah, man, they're cooked. It's bad.
All right, last one. I wanted to share this one with you because I just saw this the other day. Just saw this earlier. All right. Let me find this. All right. Let me know if you heard this one. Former NBA star Gilbert Arenas proposed to his girl with a $400,000 ring. They broke up 8 days later. They eventually made up, and he faked a relationship with her for a few months so he can switch the ring out for a fake version. She sued him and lost. Is this the definition of Agent Zero? That's a
Man,
smooth operator right there, bro.
this
That
is the
is a
most Gilbert Arenas thing that I think I've heard, bro. That's crazy.
faked a relationship so he can switch out the ring.
And she sued
Oh
him and
man.
lost?
And she sued him and lost. So he good. He won.
Yeah, I guess.
That is
He's gotta sleep at night.
he's sleeping with 400K more in his bank account than before. So
And
uh,
his son about to get a bag too.
yeah, his son's nice. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to hit on the kids at some point too, because there's more than just Bronny out there, folks. All right, so next section, do we want to do? We got two options here. We can go with. We can do the under 25 list, or we can do the redraft or the 2020. Which one do you want to do?
Mm.
Probably only got
Maybe,
time for one.
maybe if we can, because I do want to redraft. Maybe if we can just touch on like the top five and see if we agree or disagree on that under 25 list.
Under 25. All right, cool. Let's go through that. All right, so under 25 list. Let me share with what you send me. All right, let's see. Okay, so this is according to NBA player ranking. So it looks like I'm not sure. So one of the sites on Instagram, one of the basketball ones, top players under the age of 25. Number one, Victor Wembanyama. Number two, Anthony Edwards. Number three, Paolo Banchero. Number four, LaMelo Ball. Number five, Chet Holmgren. 6 through 10, we got Tyrese Maxey, Franz Wagner, Tyrese Halliburton, Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham. Then you got, 10 through 10 and on. You have, 11 and on. You have Evan Mobley, Alperen Sengun, Zion Williamson at 13. Jalen Williams, Darius Garland, Jalen Suggs, Brandon Miller, RJ Barrett, Tyler Hero, Jalen Johnson, and you got Jalen Green down at 21, Amen Thompson, Benedict Mathurin, Derek Lively, and then Dyson Daniels. All right, so let's hit on these top five. Do we agree on the top five? So number one, Victor Wembanyama.
Man, this was tough, and a friend of mine kind of put it in perspective. But at first, I was saying that the top two should be switched, right, because of the accomplishments of Anthony Edwards so far. But
my
he
guess is they're
said
saying if you wanted to start a franchise, who would it be? That's probably
that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said. And when he said that, the clear answer is Victor Wembanyama, right?
I agree. Victor Wembanyama's one. Ant's got to be two, right? You got Ant at two? Okay, so who you got at three? You got Paolo, LaMelo, Chet, Maxey, Wagner, Halliburton. Who you got at three?
I would have Paolo at
Me
three.
Too. I actually would too.
Yeah.
Healthy Paolo is starting to become a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Orlando's got a nice, bright future ahead of themselves.
Horrible year as far as luck.
No. Yeah, they got to get their core nice.
Mm-hmm. Their young core, right?
They gotta get their core. They gotta get their core tightened up a little bit. All these oblique and abdominal injuries. All right, 4. Okay, would you go LaMelo at 4 or Chet at 4 or 5?
Man, so this is where it got interesting because I saw another list where Tyrese Halliburton was in this spot or around the same spot. Mm-hmm. So I guess my question to you is, do you got LaMelo over Tyrese Halliburton at this point?
I do. Now it's tough because I feel like Halliburton's been more durable. Well, we know your best ability is your availability, right? So it's very hard. But I would go. I think I agree with this list. Actually, I would go LaMelo at 4. But you know what? I'm not even going Maxey at 4. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not saying Maxey is better than LaMelo.
They've all been all-stars.
But I know what I'm going to get for the course of the year with Tyrese Maxey.
True.
And so I might go Maxey at 4, Chet at 5, LaMelo at 6. Now, to be fair, I do think LaMelo is better than Maxey when healthy, like 1v1, so to speak. But I know I'm going to get with Maxey. So I'd probably go Maxey at 4, Chet at 5, LaMelo at 6. So I'll just swap Maxey and LaMelo.
I'm not mad at that. Yeah. I'm not mad at that. I might keep LaMelo there just for ceiling.
Yeah, and you can't go wrong with that. All right, so before we get out of here, let's hit on this one. So we're going to redo the 2020 NBA draft. We're just going to do the first 5 picks each. First 10 picks. So for those that don't know, the 2020 NBA draft, number 1 pick was Anthony Edwards to the Timberwolves, followed by James. Let me just share my screen real fast. Let's see here. All right. Can you see my screen, dude?
Yep.
All right, let's go through this. All right, so number 1 was Edwards, Wiseman, LaMelo, and then Patrick Williams, Isaac Okoro, so on and so on. I'm not going to keep going down the list, but the reason I wanted to redo this draft, and we had talked about this one, because there's a lot of good players. You got Halliburton at 12. You have Tyrese Maxey down here at 21. You have Emmanuel Quickly, 25.
Peyton
Peyton
Pritchard.
Pritchard, who's become a solid NBA player at 26. Jaden
Hmm.
McDaniels down here at 28, who's a starter on a contender. Desmond Bain. So let's go through. And obviously, I don't remember every single need of each team at that position, but let's just ideally, hypothetically, kind of talk through this. Would the number one pick still be Anthony Edwards?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Warriors at number two. So at the time, they had Steph, Clay. They were looking for a big man. I'm guessing James Wiseman would not be the number one two pick anymore. Who'd you take number two?
I'm taking LaMelo Ball.
I think they
I
could have,
feel like
yeah.
he would be a
Mhm.
perfect successor to their current
Yep.
regime, honestly.
LaMelo Ball would have done what Jordan Poole did for them, but just different, right? He wouldn't have been
Hmm.
the shooter per se, but he would have been a great like next generation, so to speak. All right, so Charlotte at three. Who would you have taken three then if you're Charlotte?
Hmm.
Would you go? Would it be Halliburton or Tyrese Maxey? Knowing what you know now,
Hmm.
you need a guard. You need star power, kind of so to speak, as well.
I man, I would say Tyrese Halliburton.
Me too. That was my pick. That's what I
I
would
would
go
say
Tyrese
Tyrese
Halliburton at three.
Halliburton.
All right, Bulls were kind of in the same position. So if Hornets would have got Halliburton,
I would go Tyrese Maxey in that spot.
Tyrese Maxey at the Bulls, yeah, yeah. As much as I like Maxey, I would have took Halliburton here if I'm the Hornets because I would have.
Hmm.
He kind of fits that same type of molds, and
He might have,
Maxey
and
kind of
honestly, not for nothing, he might have had more winning success than LaMelo has had there so
yeah,
far. To be
that's true.
real,
That's true. All right, five. The Cavs they took Isaac Okoro. Knowing what you know now, who might you take if you're Cleveland?
Hmm. um, I'm gonna say Desmond Bain.
I agree. That's a good one. Yeah. Now that after you said it, I'm like, yeah. You know what? That's probably the better pick. Because I was thinking like a big man. I was like, okay, Obi Toppin's been a solid NBA player, but I forgot Desmond Bain was down there. Yeah, I'd probably go Desmond Bain too.
And I think for me, case I'm going strictly talent over
Talent.
fit in this case, just because I can't remember who everybody like really. I mean, let's be honest. None of these guys, except for the guys we're naming, actually fit anyways in reality
Yeah, yeah,
on these teams. So
yeah. Okay, let's go six. Who would you take six?
uh, yeah, let's go down that list.
As I say, Isaiah Stewart still with the Pistons?
I think so, but he's
Hmm.
he's he's a
Yeah,
goon.
yeah, he is. He
He's
is.
just a goon, basically. Let's see.
I mean, Peyton Pritchard, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think Peyton Pritchard. Or Jaden McDaniels.
I'm thinking
But
McDaniel's got to go at some point soon here too.
yeah, I might go back to back with those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think Peyton Pritchard would go five. McDaniels would probably go six. Yeah, and then I'd probably so seven, eight, nine, 10. Wait, Naismith, he's the one on Indiana, right?
Yeah, he's their defensive stopper, basically.
Yeah, you know what? He's actually starting to become like a solid like NBA player though. Like,
Is oh boy in this draft though? Who's in that second
oh,
round?
oh
Um
Benedict?
yeah, isn't Matherin?
Nah, nah. I think he's in the next year, or yeah, I think he's in next year's draft. Because Matherin, when healthy, is solid.
Man, I don't know who none of these people in the second
Yeah,
round, man.
I know Xavier Tillman. He's kind of found his way around the league a
He's
little
on the
bit already.
Celtics now.
Yeah,
Trey Jones.
Isaiah Joe.
I like Isaiah
Great.
Joe. He's got to be up there
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. He'd probably be so maybe not in a specific order, but I'd probably throw Isaiah Joe up there. Trey Jones, who's he on? Is that okay? I mean, New
He's on the
Orleans.
Spurs, I think, still.
Okay, okay, never mind then. Yeah, I don't know any of these guys like that.
Yeah. So yeah,
So We might be done. We might be dead now. But I
I mean,
think that
I'm throwing Obi Toppin in the top 10 then still.
yeah, he'd probably be a 10. He'd probably be 9 or 10 for me. Josh Green is kind of become a nice little role player. He's
Yeah.
probably
Who's
right
who's he
around
on right now?
Dallas. Isn't he still in Dallas?
Nah, they got Grimes now.
Oh, I don't even
They
know
traded him.
where. Let's see where he's at. Oh, it's not okay. We'll have to look. Let me see it real quick.
Man, I'm about to look it up.
He's go figure. Hornets. That's why
He's
he's
on the
on shot.
Hornets.
That's why we ain't hear about him no more. The Hornets, Hornets don't do nobody justice. Okay, nah. So it's interesting because I feel like outside of like the top, so you have Lamelo and you had. I lost it. Let me find it again. Man, I lost it. Oh well, I'll find it. Yeah, I feel like it was just more so order. So I'd still take Ant, Lamelo, but yeah, I think some of those lower
Wiseman's
round Wiseman's out. Yeah,
he might not be drafted.
yo, we got to do some. To, I know we're wrapping up here, but we got to do biggest bust here probably within the next couple weeks.
Man.
And between Wiseman and who's the one that came out of UNLV?
Uh
Uh, Anthony.
Anthony man, what was his name, dude?
Yeah, bust.
He's from Canada.
Yeah, they not like us.
Man,
Uh,
what was his name? Anthony something.
Bennett.
Anthony Bennett.
Bennett. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, let's wait for Emil to hop on that one because that's a fellow running rebel, and that's what they produced out there at UNLV. So let's wait for him to come up on that one. So, but yeah, so this week coming up, we got the Cup final. We got some prep for the NBA Christmas Day coming up. What else you got? Anything else you can think of right now?
um no, I mean I think the cup game is probably the biggest game.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Because the reason why they're doing the cup like semis and stuff this weekend is because there's no college football. If
Mm-hmm.
there was college football this weekend, do you
It's a
think
wrap.
they even stand a chance?
It's a wrap. And that's what I forgot to mention earlier. I was talking about basketball. I mean, talking about NFL, college football, and I'm an all sports fan. This has been the best season of college football ever. And the reason is because of the 12-team playoffs and like there's just urgency week in, week out. You got Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, you got all these guys like that. You got
There's a
star
lot of
power.
storyline. Yeah,
And the thing is, it translates to the NFL. Like you build these guys up. They're there for 2 or 3 years. You know about them. They have name, image recognition, and likeness, whatever. Then by the time they get to the pros, they have a brand. They
right,
have fan bases. They have clout, so to speak. So then it translates to an NFL product, and it just keeps going. The NCAA outside of March Madness, I told you I'm not even watching college hoops right now if it ain't Juju Watkins. Like,
right, right,
and
right,
even then they blowing teams out. So I'm not like I'm watching the
right. It's
full
not even
games.
fun.
Yeah. So like I mean I'm all for guys coming out of high school and but there's something to be said about football, like in the sense of guys got to stay 2 or 3 years to develop before you send them out. There's something. Think about Shador Sanders. Sorry, random tangent. 4 years ago, people might have known him just because he was prime son. If he would have
Right,
came out, nobody would have known him. You gave him 4 years to mature, 4 years to build up his name. Now,
right,
by the time he gets to the league, he's going to be top 10 jersey sales.
right. He's
NBA,
looking at number one quarterback taken in the draft.
yep. NBA's got some problems. So
Man,
we'll see. We got.
one question case real quick, and this is something that I didn't conceptualize, but this is a great question. Of that top 25, under 25 list, are
Mhm.
any of those players a bigger name than
No,
Caitlin Clark?
nope. Anthony Edwards is your close. Well, take that back. Victor Wembanyama could be more globally. Domestically,
Right,
no. Globally, he could be. But he's got to make a couple like deep runs, like in the playoffs or something like that, right? Like
right,
he's got to have some moments.
right,
Anthony Edwards could be domestically. He's got to become a little bit more polished. And I'm not gonna lie, like he's in Minnesota. Like you get him on that purple and gold.
Right,
Okay,
right, right,
you get
right,
him to the Garden.
right.
Okay, like that shit still matters, bro. Like that stuff still matters. Like
Yeah,
Minnesota, like could he do it in Minnesota? Yeah, for sure. But like it's the NBA, they need somebody. They need that's why Braun in LA, Steph in the Bay, like they need people in those areas.
right.
So all in all, we'll see. Got some good games this week. We got Minnesota, New York this week. We got tonight. Actually, we got Warriors and Mavericks. So I might go lock in and tune in a couple hours and go watch that. Um, yeah, that's about it.
We'll
So
we'll have to talk about what we would do to save the NBA. How about that? That'll
yeah,
be another
that's
conversation for another
yeah,
day.
that's a full narrative. I think I need to give that some more thoughts. I've heard other people mention some things, but like I would love to kind of get my thoughts on it and put my own take together. So on that note, bro, we will holler soon and hopefully we'll lock in this week and catch some of these games. So
Yes, sir.
I found later.
Peace.